Street Soldiers Radio is the voice of the Alive and Free movement, preventing violence worldwide.
My educational experiences was not unique, but it was definitely diverse. I went to about 5 different schools, so I wrote this poem in honor of the Brown versus Board education. So I was kicked out of my first high school the day before class. And nowadays I wake up to the soft sound of a nostalgic regret playing over my morning prayers. Dear God, thank you for this day and direct my path. Working for a youth development organization, I spend most of my time telling young folks to stay in school. The irony feels like a swift punch to my ego every time I catch myself giving that typical, "I've made those mistakes already" speech. So I've learned to disguise them with phrases like, "Yo, homie, school to get you paid," or "all the cuties go to college." He replies with a youthful pessimism. I say, "Look, just don't follow in my footsteps. Learn from the path I've already taken and create your own." I'm reminded of where I come from when I walk into most high schools. Faced with that unholy deja vu of students drifting like nomads between classrooms, hallways become a permanent purgatory for failures. But I'm starting to learn there's a fine line between ignorant and bred to be uneducated. And some might call that line segregated, a filthy word to a public school principal, especially in a city known for progression. So pardon me for a moment while I digress. See, I can't help but notice that classrooms look more like the Red Sea, split in half by Moses' staff separating students by more than color, but it's funny how brown folks still find their way to the back. And when test scores reflect budget cuts, teachers play hot potato with the kids that can't read, just send them to the basement. Special education is the new segregation, while standardized tests are the sequel to separate but equal. But test scores can only reflect accessibility to information. We can't get the answer right if we can't even understand the question, so every day I pray for wisdom. While SATs play God, separating saint from sinner, student from statistic, private from public, and in a city as diverse as San Francisco, people of color make up 50% of the population and 90% of the public schools. It's no coincidence, it's beautifully deliberate. This state invests $230,000 for every juvenile in prison, as opposed to $8,000 for a student in the Oakland public schools. In other words, they invest more when you fail, so they won't send you to study hall, they'd rather send you to jail, fire our teachers and replace them with correctional officers, turn our public schools into play penitentiaries, prepare a third of our entire generation to be incarcerated, and tell you there is no such thing as segregation. But young man, believe me when I say you will always be Brown versus the Board of Education. And I can't help but see my... It's all right. I can't help but see myself...
Let's go, B.
And I can't...
All right now. That is right now. That is all right now.
I can't help but see myself in you. See, I was bred to be a worker too, taught to fill out a job application before I ever learned to apply for college. My counselor suggested I stick with something simple. She told me garbage men get great benefits, so I threw away my education. High school dropout, twice removed, stuck at community college, a place where more often than not dreams of higher education go to die, and classes fill up faster than emergency rooms, so students drop like flies. And here I am in one more class. I don't need trying to stop flirting with these illusions of grandeur. I'm thinking if junior college is hell, then heaven must be something like Stanford, so every day I pray to be forgiven. But sometimes I feel like brown skin is the cardinal sin. And sometimes I feel like Moses wandering an ocean of dust, searching for some promised land where my people pray to idols, replacing golden calves for golden bears. And I ain't got the heart to tell you that Berkeley is only public to folks who had a private education. And I wonder if at this moment you can smell the hypocrisy on my breath when I say just do your best, bruh, that's all that counts. Knowing you probably will be rejected to the same college that have already accepted me. Submit your life story in 3 pages or less and let them call it your personal statement. Let them test you until you become standard in hopes that one day they can see me as some kind of equal. But I remind myself I'm doing it for him, so that no institution, whether it's public school or prison, will ever validate who we are. So nowadays I go to sleep to the uneasy sound of an apprehensive retribution rising over my evening prayers. Dear God, let us never forget that we are all sacred and equal. Thank you.